All right, welcome back to season 6 of our show. And today it's the holiday times. We're running up on Easter. And what are we doing? Cooking a shoulder clod. We're showing you how to cook 30 pounds of chuck roll / shoulder clod. Let's show you how to get it done. A lot of you guys never seen a piece of meat like this before, but basically it's just a huge chuck steak. This comes from the front portion of the cow. And this is just all one piece. Now you can cut this down and get several steaks out of this, but today we're cooking it whole because it's the holiday time and we want this as our shower. So the first thing I'm gonna do to cut into this, I got some scragglies on the top here, so I'm gonna save these from my dog. So I'm just gonna cut that off. We're gonna put that on the cooker with it. I'm gonna lay it on the top and I can pull that off early. There's some silver skin here, so we're gonna take our knife and come right underneath the silver skin. And then I'm just gonna peel back a little bit like this and just get that off of here. It's a pretty hard, thick piece too. See that? And I'm gonna just lay it back over the meat. So I'm gonna cut it, but I'm not gonna take it off. I'm gonna lay it back over. And this little piece right here, I'll just get out of here. This is the only piece of the meat that we're gonna remove. And this piece right here that I cut off, let me just get this out of here. All right, now this piece right here that I kind of picked up, I'm gonna cut it all the way back to the end of it, and then I'm gonna lay it back down. So now after this roast gets finished cooking, this protects the meat. I can just pull this right off, or maybe it might fall off in the fire if we're lucky. I'm just gonna get that little piece out of there. And that's it. I'm gonna feel around. Anything like this right here, just lift it up, take your knife and cut it off. There's some good fat under here, but this little slimy fat, it's not gonna do you any good right here. So just take your hand and just lift it up. It's like almost like a membrane. And we're just gonna cut that out of there. The rest of this will pretty much cook off in the fire. We're cooking this direct, over direct heat. See that? I'm gonna leave that on. That's gonna fall off, just burn up in the fire, and that's it. So that's about as far as I want it. Maybe I'll slice up this end just a little bit and just gonna leave it on there. All that fat, just leave it right on there. I got some garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, little oregano, sage, thyme, all dry powders that we're going with today. And then we're gonna hit this hard with some kosher salt. And there's black pepper in this, so we're not gonna put any pepper on it. But generous amount of the seasoning on here. That's what you want. This is avocado oil, so we're going in with that. I'm just gonna create a paste and just keep rubbing down. And you're gonna need a pretty good amount of this. And just keep patting it in. I could have used a little bit of a bigger tray, but it's all right. We're gonna work with this one. And we're cooking this, like I said, direct heat. We're cooking hot and fast. Doesn't that look nice? See, back in the days, this cut of meat was used before brisket. Now everybody wants a brisket, but this was the brisket back in the days. 70s, 60s, this was it. You would go into meat stores and they would have this out for you. They would cook this, and it was chuck roll. And sometimes you were lucky to get there on a Saturday and get a piece of this chuck roll. So they cook it in whole pieces and feed the public. All right, let's turn that over. I'm just gonna start sprinkling the rest of this right on there. Now, there's several cuts of steak you can get out of here. Chuck steaks. It's used to make a lot of hamburgers. So this thing, if you ever want to buy hamburger meat and you're feeding the crowd, you buy something like this and you chop it up yourself. Pull out a grinder and grind it up, and you save yourself a ton of money. This piece of meat usually goes for about $5.99 a pound if it's on sale. A good sale, right up to about $8.99 or $10 a pound. It just takes a while to cook it. But to save, and the flavor you're gonna get out of here, why not? You know, that's what barbecue was back in the days. It was very large, cheap cuts of meat. Now today, everything's really expensive. Everybody wants to use expensive cuts of meat, but most of the time, this is how I roll with chuck roll and brisket, which was another cheap cut of meat that nobody wanted. Now today, it's in fashion and everybody wants it. This is Diamond Crystal kosher salt. 50% less sodium to you guys out there. A little on the expensive side, but don't be fooled by any competitors. So if anybody tells you that it's Diamond Crystal is Diamond Crystal. And that's it. All right, I'm gonna turn this back over. Oh, it's a big boy. And I'm gonna hit this side. Got nice color in here already. It's a Hungarian paprika doing that. We used a good one. So a good paprika will give you a great color. See that? Don't skimp on the salt. I know it looks like a lot of salt, but over 30 pounds worth of meat, you're gonna need all that salt. All right, there it is. All right, we're gonna let this sit out, room temperature, for about 2 hours, and then we're going on to the cooker with it. And we'll meet you back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, time to get this meat on. All right, we're going on the pit barrel. And I'm putting the whole thing right on, directly over the coals. And you see I got that little piece up there for my doggy. All right, so we're gonna put our bars back inside. These are for air control and hanging meats. Ooh, they're hot. I'm gonna close my lid and I'm gonna check this in about 3 hours. So stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, so we're about 2.5 hours in on that roast, and now it's time to baste it. And what we're gonna baste it with is a homemade beef broth. And for this type of roast, I go about 5 hours with it out there on the grill, give it to smoke, and then we're gonna finish that off in the oven. We're gonna cook it in the oven at 350 degrees because we are not waiting all day long for a roast. It's not gonna happen today. We're gonna come back in and we're gonna show you how to make a beautiful pasta salad. Don't go anywhere. All right, we're gonna baste and turn this roast. All right, we're turning over. Look at this little piece here. That was for the dogs. So I think I'm just gonna put it over here for now, but let's turn this over. That's a big boy. All right, there we go. Turned over. Now we're gonna put some base on here. I'm gonna go in with a lot of it now and cool down my fire. There we go. All right, I'm gonna put my bars back in here. I'm gonna close up. I'm gonna put this little treat on top for my dogs. And we're gonna meet you back here to pull it in another 3 hours, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, time to pull this. Look at that. All right, so we got 5 hours in, and just in 5 hours, look what we got. We're gonna take this and finish it off in the oven. Look at that. Oh, this is a big boy. There we go. All right, now we're gonna take this inside and we're gonna wrap it, and into the oven it goes. Stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, oven's cranking at 300 degrees. It's time to wrap this. All right, so this is a trick that we use in the food industry. And I'm just gonna put some plastic wrap right over top of this. And what that's gonna do is just lock in and seal this in. And we're gonna get the second piece on. All right, so here's the aluminum. And we're gonna get it nice and tight. So as you're pulling it tight, it will stretch away from the roast, and I'll show you on the other side. See how that stretches away from the roast? Because now the aluminum's tight. So now underneath of that, it's pulled away from the roast. The reason why we went 5 hours on the cooker, because 5 hours is going to flavor this and smoke it. So we got enough smoke and flavor on here from the grill itself. Once you wrap it, you're not getting any more smoke anyway, so why are you staying out there throwing wood in the fire? So wrap it and get it inside the oven. All right, rocking at 300. Get that big boy in there, center of the oven, and we'll see you in a couple hours. There it is. All right, along with this roast, we're making a beautiful pasta salad. Let's show you how to get this done. So we're making a egg bean salad. These are the beans we're using today, some garbanzo beans, some red kidney beans. I got some olives, bell pepper, that's a yellow bell pepper, and some eggs over here, purple onion. This is our pasta here. So we already boiled this. Of course, we've drained it. We left all the starch in, so it's a little bit on the sticky side, and it's a little bit hard to the tooth on here, so it's not done completely. They call that al dente. So first thing I'm gonna do is get some onions in here. So I chopped up some purple onion here. Now this salad, feel free to make it yours. Just feel it out. So I'll put stuff out, and then I'll just judge out the amounts that I want to put in. So you put them in dry first, and then wet them up afterwards. So here's the onion. I'll spin it around, and I'll see if I like that. So we're looking right. Garbanzo beans. I'm gonna put that in. That would be probably about 16 ounces. And I'm gonna spin it, take a look. Here's the beans. We'll get those in. And then we got our olives over here, and we'll get those in. And we're just gonna keep spinning this. And looking as you spin. So there you go. Doesn't that look pretty already? All right, here's our bell peppers. The yellow bell pepper. I want a lot of those in, so I've made this salad hundreds of times, so I pretty much know where I'm at. But I'm showing you guys for the first time how to put this together very simply, without going over or under on all your goods that you're putting inside here. All right, so here we go. Doesn't that look great? All right, so I'm gonna take this off to the side. I'm putting my eggs in last. And the reason why I wanna put my eggs in last is because I don't want them to fall apart all in there. White wine vinegar, oregano, good amount, black pepper, very simple salad. And we're going in with some olive oil. A good amount of the olive oil. All right, whisk, and we're just gonna bring it together. Just like that. Now you can save some back or hold some back and do this at the table if you want. But I'm gonna put it together for you right now. Then at the table we'll garnish on top and we'll throw a little greenery in there and make it look pretty. Because greenery always makes everything look pretty. All right, so now we brought that together. Get that nice and thick on us. We're going to bring this back in. And now I'm going to add a little bit. I'm going to add it all, just because I know my ratios. And we're going to give this a spin. See, if you have the eggs in here, they kind of fall apart and break all up, and that's what you don't want. So now as you bring it together, you have like kind of a sheet on here. So now it's glistening, and that's what makes it look even more pretty. This could be done way in advance. All right, I'm gonna move this off to the side. Let's bring in a bowl. And here's some eggs. So I'm gonna get a couple of our eggs broken up in here like this. This way you got some eggs on the bottom. And when you spin this, you bring all the eggs up. So this is where we're gonna use our hands for this salad. So I'm just gonna take it like this. I'm gonna bring a couple of handfuls over. I'm gonna take some more egg, break it up. See, this is what makes a really good salad, is when you get your hands in here and layer it. There's things that that spoon's just not gonna be able to do. I'm gonna get another egg in here. I try to go 2 eggs per section in the middle there. And I'm gonna put a couple more handfuls of our beans in here and salad. See that? Now you don't have to spin it. It's already done for you. It's already layered, and you're almost good to go. And the last 2 eggs we're gonna save for the top, the tippy top. So we're just gonna put all of it in here. I'm gonna get the rest in. See what I mean by ratioed out? I've done this 1,000 times, so I'm right there with it. Now I'm gonna bust up a couple of eggs and just kind of sprinkle them on the top. Make them look pretty. There it is. Now you know you have eggs through and through. And all the yolk is not busted up in there. And that looks fantastic. All right, there it is. And then right before we serve, we'll maybe put a little greenery around the edges. All right, we're gonna meet you guys right back here and put this meal together, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, our meat is out of the oven and it's resting, and right now we're showing you a beautiful scallion and garlic hot water drop cornbread. Let's show you how to get this done. All right, so for this dish, you're gonna need some hot water, pinch of salt, garlic. This is crushed garlic and a clove. Make the amount yours. Scallion I have right here. This is cornmeal, and I have 1 cup of cornmeal in here. So I'm just going in right into the bowl with it. This is self-rising flour. I have 2 cups here. I'm going right in with it. And then we're just gonna add our ingredients in. So basically we're gonna get the bread going with the hot water, and I'm gonna add just a little salt in here. Just a pinch, about there, just to bring out that nice flavor in there. Now I'm gonna mix this in. Now this bread was made back in the days, but I put my own spin on it. I started adding some things to it, just because I felt that it lacked in flavor. So this is not 100% traditional bread. This is my bread, and I suggest you make it yours. Put whatever flavors you want to put in there. Let's get some hot water in there. That hot water is going to start the cooking process. The nice thing about this, your hands come out extremely clean, and you won't have to touch the bread. So that's it. Now if you want to add things like paprika in here to add some color or anything else to this bread, you could make it yours, add whatever you like. And this is the way it's going to look, like this. Now a regular hot water cornbread, if you're just using straight cornmeal, it's going to be very dense. This one, because of the flour, it's going to be nice and light and fluffy. So it's not going to be dense like the regular hot water cornmeal. And it just goes great with nice salads. And sometimes that hot water cornbread, if you catch it wrong, you can almost break a tooth on it. But this is nice, light, fluffy, and it's not all that chewing. So you're not going to have to give your jaw a workout on this one. All right, and there it is. All right, we're going to heat some oil up on the stove, and we'll meet you right back here. Onto the stove we go, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, oil's nice and hot, and I'm using 2 spoons. This is what they call it, drop bread. And I'm going right in. I'm keeping them close. And look how easy this is to make. And they'll taste amazing. So that's about half my dough. Maybe I'll just drop one in the back. There we go. That's what they call it, drop bread. All right, we're gonna let these fry up, and we'll meet you right back here when we're pulling them, so stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, it is time to pull these guys, but that's the color you want on them right there. You can go a little bit darker if you like them a little bit darker. So the darker you go, it's gonna show up all that nice scallion and garlic in there. And this smells amazing right now. You can smell this, guys. All right, there we go. And I think I'm gonna start pulling them. And I get my smaller ones out first. Drain a little bit. There you go. All right, we're gonna fry the rest of these up, and then we're gonna meet you guys right back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, here we are, season 6's chopping block, shoulder clod, AKA chuck roll. Let's show you what we got. Look at that. Beautiful. Look at all the juice that came out of this. I'm just gonna spin this around. See, I didn't put any broth in here or anything. This is everything that's this roast made on its own. So this is what I've been doing for the last half hour as this roast is cooling down. I'm taking this broth that it made in its own juice, and I keep basting it. So as it cools, I just keep doing this for about a half hour, standing here doing this. And that's it. All right, I'm gonna cut into this. I'm gonna show you how to get this cut into. So what I'll do is just feel this and see if it's still hot. It's cooled down quite a bit. I'm gonna leave it like that. And I'm just gonna bring in a plate and a bowl. And this is what we're using. So this is the end of it. Look how tender this is. I just wanna show you this pitchfork. I'm just gonna poke right through, look at that. My hand's off of it. I'm just sitting here, so I'm just gonna get some nice slices from the end here. And look at this. Nice and juicy. Now I do this because I love all that fat on the end there, see? Cuts like a steak. And I'm gonna get a nice big chunk of this just to show you how this cuts and how this looks. So this cuts like butter. Look at that. So right onto the plate we go with that. And look at that smoke ring on there. Now if you want, you can take a a little bit of the broth that's in here and just drizzle that right over top, just like that. And now you got a gorgeous piece of that. And look in there. See that smoke ring? I wish I can cut into this and show you the middle right now, but I can't because I will dry this piece of meat out. It's still hot. I should have gave it more time to cool down, but it is what it is. All right, so I'm gonna move this off to the side like that. And now we're gonna get into this beautiful pasta salad. So let's show you that. Here's the bowl. And we're gonna plate up with this, or a bowl up. See how you wanna just layer it like that? Look how everything's in there, the eggs, the peppers, the olives. And that tricolor pasta really stands out. All right, so there we go. And of course, we got some of this gorgeous bread here. This nice hot water cornbread. We're gonna park some of this on the plate. And of course, we're just gonna garnish. Make the plate look presentable, right? So let's rip off some of this garnish and we're gonna park it right here. And we'll just kind of spin that around so you guys can see what I'm looking at. And there you have it. All right, time to get into this. Let's try that chuck roll. Look at this, just so tender, just cuts like butter. You can almost just take the knife and just go right through it. See that? I'll hold it with that and right through. Let's give this Pitmaster a try. So soft, smoky, succulent, extremely juicy. I don't think you can get a brisket this juicy. Matter of fact, I know you can't get a brisket this juicy. Neck and neck with brisket, I'm gonna give it to this one today. This particular cut, the way it was cooked, the way it came out. You don't know what you're gonna get sometimes when you buy these pieces of meat. You can get a piece of meat that you chose 15,000 times, and that one time you cut it, depends on the cow, it was tough. This right here happens to be outstanding. The flavor in here, the texture, the way it cuts, the way it looks, doesn't get any better than that. All right, let's try that pasta salad. That goes perfectly with this meal. The steak and a pasta salad doesn't get any better than that. All right, let's try that bread. Now look at this. Look at the inside of that. See how light and fluffy that is? And yet you can see all the cornmeal on the outside, which makes it really crunchy. Let's give that a shot. Onions, garlic, and cornbread. You cannot get a more phenomenal combination than that. Crunchy on the outside, exterior. You can taste that cornmeal on the outside. Light, fluffy, pillowy on the inside. Gorgeous dish. All right, we're gonna get organized. We're gonna meet you guys right back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, and there it is. One amazing chuck roll, AKA shoulder clod. I hope you guys enjoy this beautiful Easter Sunday dinner. We served that with some gorgeous pasta salad with eggs, beans, olives. And we fried up some beautiful drop bread with that as well. Garlic and scallion, which are green onion. Hope you try that one. That is one amazing combination, all of it. Like always, we thank you guys coming. We enjoyed having you. And with no further ado, gotta get that last. Put master taster.